talk about is the risk hedging. Mathematically, what do we mean by the risk hedging one? So suppose we have a function f. I'm giving it as an fi, and this is our function is of three variable. Let's say that x, y, and z. Correct. So these are the fi, you can call it as an different assets which you have. So for a time being you try to understand this is a function, just as a function fi with the variable x, y, and z. So now we make our portfolio consisting of f1 asset, f2 asset, and f1 f2 could be a different call, put, even we can have a stock and so on. This all we will try to understand and so on. So we can have different x1 f1 f2 f3 and so on. So now if I say that if I'm trying to do the risk management with a variable x for my portfolio V, what actually I'm trying to say that small change in x, my portfolio value should not change. Are you getting my point? Are you getting my point? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
All of you, please respond.
Yes, sir.
So what does this mean? That I'm not writing all, you can understand. F1, so the partial derivative of F1, F2, F3, all with respect to X, the sum over should be giving me the value equal to 0. Correct? Right or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Now what we do in our in finance is that we try to put N1 number of units of an asset F1, number of units N2 of asset F2, and so on. So what we have is N1, N2, and N3 would be multiplied with the partial derivative factor, and that should give me the value 0, because now we have a choice how many units of a particular asset I can have, I can buy. So I can play around N1, N2, and N3, and I can make my equation look like that if even if a small change in X, correct? Small change in X, my portfolio value is not changing. So I mean, is this part okay? What do you mean by risk hedging using understanding from mathematics point of view? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Correct.
this X, Y, and Z, what they are, sir?
They are variable. They are variable. Like if you have a call option, what is the formula of call option now? Black-Scholes formula.
S0 n alpha 1 minus k e to the power minus rt and alpha 2.
So an alpha 1 can be given by an equation which is
ln s naught over k plus r plus sigma square by 2 times t over sigma root t.
and alpha 2 can be given as alpha 1 minus sigma root t. Correct?
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
now Akshat, tell me what all variables are there in for calculating the C naught. What are the variables for calculating the value of C naught?
Sir, this T sigma.
T, sigma, anything else? S, stock
S,
price,
R, K,
K is known to you. K is the strike price.
Okay.
So you agreed on that strike price. So you can understand one of them we can call it as an X, one of them we can't call it as a variable Y and Z and so on. Did you get my point?
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Correct. So let's try to see that if we have a a three variable like X, Y, and Z, we are trying to find it out. So F1 is X, Y, F1 and F2. These are the two assets which we have. Correct. And we want to hedge our risk with respect to X. What do and we have and we are trying to find it out N1 units here and N2 units of the asset F2. So our portfolio value simply becomes N1 times F1, right, and N2 times F2. This F2 is basically a function of X, Y, Z. I'm skipping it here. This is basically this is you can understand that part. Now taking a partial derivative with respect to X is going to give me equal to 0. Correct? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
So we have one equation. We had two assets. Correct? And we have now one equation. So what we can do, we can put the value of N1 is equal to 1 plus or minus 1 depending upon whether we are buying and whether we are selling it. And correspondingly, we can think of what could be the value of N2. So basically what we are trying to do is we from the two variables, we are trying to make it as a one variable and we'll get the actually equation that for each unit of F1, correct, how much do I need to buy or sell for the second asset in order to, with a small change in X, in order to hedge my risk, in order to such that my portfolio value will not change. Did you get my point?
Yes, sir.
Soumyadeep, Mridupan, Raghav.
Sir, could you repeat once more?
Right. So which part is not clear to you? Is this okay?
Yeah, that part is clear after that.
And then what we have done, we are trying to find the relative value. So per unit of F1, what I need to do with the F2. Whether we
Okay,
need
sir.
to, all right. So this plus and minus sign definitely will come depending upon how the what is the value of the partial derivative. Correct. If it is negative, so you have to do opposite of what you have done with the F1. So if you have bought and it comes to buying, if you are taking it as a positive, then it will, depending upon if it is coming negative, then you have to sell, and if it is coming positive, then you have to buy. So you have to define your plus and minus sign accordingly, whether you are calling it as the buying as a plus or selling as a minus or vice versa. Correct. So there is one thing which you need to understand, that with the two assets, I'm being able to hedge one variable or one risk factor. Why? Because now if I write the same thing, because if let's say that if I'm making this is equal to 0, this does not guarantee me that the next one with respect to the variable y will be 0. Because this can be or cannot be, may or may not. Do you agree? Do you agree?
Sir, I
Yes,
didn't
sir.
understand, sir.
Which part?
Sir, like this equation part, like just last sentence you just mentioned.
May or may not.
Yes, sir.
Because this is now if you have got the partial derivative with respect to x, this is a constant one. Basically, to be equal to 0, I mean same variable, if you put in a different equation, same value, it might be 0 or might not be. So if instead of x, if you are trying to find it out, the partial derivative equal with respect to y, and with the same value of n2 and n1 which we have got while we were hedging with respect to x, the equation might be or might not be 0. This
Oh,
is
yes,
my
sir.
question
Sorry, sir.
mark.
This, yeah. Yes, sir.
Correct? Did you get my point?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So now what we do, I just change the color and I say that now I have a 3 assets. So 3 assets means that I'm just writing directly n2 by n1 now we can say that okay, now we can get a value of this n2 by n1 or n3 by n1 which can satisfy these two, and we can have with respect to variable x and with respect to variable y, our portfolio has been hedged, the risk has been mitigated. Do you agree? Because we can get the value of different n1, n2 and n3 which can satisfy these two equations. Soumyadeep.
Yes, sir. Understood. Since there are 3 assets here, so we can mitigate two risk factors, right?
Yes.
Yes, understood.
Jatin?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
So you have 3 assets and you can hedge with the 2 variable. So basically this is a 2 risk mitigation. Right. So I mean, going by the same and using the induction principle, but we can say that if we have n assets, right, we have n assets, then we can hedge n minus 1 uncertainty or variable. I mean, right. So you remember this part. This is an important thing which we have tried to prove using the equations, calculus and equations both. Till now this is clear.
Yes, sir.
Any
Yes,
question?
sir.
Because we have made direct statement that to hedge n minus 1 uncertainty or variable or factor, we need n assets. Correct? So let's talk about the Greeks. Now we come back and talk about the Greeks. Please let me know if you have any question, otherwise I can move forward. Is there any question? Or please raise your hand if you have got
No, sir.
this concept. All of you. Because only 2-3 people are responding. Rest, what is happening, I don't know. Right. So we start with the call option. Black-Scholes formula for the call option, and the same thing can be extended for the put option. So we know that call option can be given as this expression. We are writing it. Right. So, and you know what will be the value of alpha 1 and what will be the value of alpha 2. Instead of writing C naught, let's try to see that what is the call option price which is mitigating. So we'll try to understand. You can always say that it is an European option which has been written, or that has been came into the existence at t is equal to 0 and can be exercised, cannot be exercised depending upon the asset price at expiry. Then why we are using CT? The CT is that suppose you have whether you have written or where you are holding a call option, correct? What is happening in between? Suppose instead of taking the call option price at t, option at t is equal to 0, if you'd have delayed by a small amount CT, what should have been the option price now? Using the expression, it would be ST. Now this again alpha 1 will be the function of t. Alpha 1 can be given as basically I should have written it as a function of t, alpha 1 as a function of t, but you know, I hope without writing it also you can understand this. Yes or no? Otherwise it becomes very clumsy. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. So can I write call option as a function of t? Correct, because if I put t is equal to 0, I will exactly get the initial equation when we are trying to find it out what would be the option price at t is equal to 0. Do you agree with this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Correct. So now looking into this one, what all variables are there here? What all variables are here? Let me know.
T.
First would be the stock price itself. Second would be the T. Correct? Yes or no? Please let me know. Then it will be the risk-free interest
Yes,
rate.
sir.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
Then it would be a variance or standard deviation. Right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
And
Yes,
one
sir.
variable which is not included, but we know from our binomial model is the dividend, which has not been included here. Oh, sorry. Just write it in a red that this is a dividend basically, which we have not included at present in our Black-Scholes formula. But later on, when we try to understand with respect to the partial differential equation, we will try to get that factor into it. And you also know that with the if the dividend is there, only thing which affects is the change in the stock price. Correct. So the first thing is these factors. So I'll try and get those values, correct, and try to understand that how it is going to, I mean how we can get all those partial derivations and what all these all are called in finance. So suppose the one thing it is there, although we are calling it as an n alpha 1, n alpha 1 is nothing but if we have a function x, what we are doing is we are taking an integration from minus infinity to plus to x, because what we are doing is we are trying to find it out what is the PDF of a normal distribution and to get the value of n alpha 1. So suppose instead of alpha 1 if I call it as an x, so n of x, what we are trying to do, this will give me the probability that the value is between minus infinity to the variable is taking a value between minus infinity to x. So is this the equation for the normal distribution, finding the CDF of a normal distribution? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Please raise your hand if you are getting this. Right. So now what will be the f dash x now? What will be the f dash x now? Can you tell me if fx is like this, what will be the value of f dash x? Come on.
We have to apply Leibniz
We have to apply.
rule.
I mean, you should be now able to tell me the final answer. Soumyadeep, do you remember? Soumyadeep, do you remember? Please answer.
The central normal distributions PDF.
What it is into?
Sir, mu equal to 0, sigma equal to 1. This will be n
No,
0.
I forget about all other things. Forget about this is a normal distribution. I'm giving you a function fx, which is an integration of another function, which is a function of y, and integrating it between minus infinity to x. I'm just calling it as what will be its first derivative. Akshat.
So I think it's like e to the power minus x square by 2 by.
Very good, very good. Who said that? And why it would be like this?
Yes, so like we take the derivative of the limit and the expression itself in the integral.
Correct. How many of you remember this? I don't think so. It's a long back you have studied this. Soumyadeep.
Yes, sir. Now I remember.
Then Soumyadeep, tell me before I move on to one, what would be, because now f dash x, so you can actually calculate what would be the first derivative of n alpha 1. This would be helping you to get those values. Now tell me what would be partial derivative of alpha 1 with respect to s. You know what is alpha 1?
One by of s of t multiply by 1 by k multiply by 1 by sigma under root t minus t.
Right. So it would be 1 by. Yeah, tell
1
me.
by 1 by s of 0 into
S
1
of
by
t. S of t. Now
s of
we'll
t.
not write S of t. Sigma times t
Sigma
minus t.
times t minus t.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Correct. Now again, few more are required basically. So tell me what would be partial derivative of alpha 1 with respect to t. I'm just writing it. I might not be using this expression, but just remember, I mean, this is not a tough one. You can take one by one. Is it correct? Is it correct? Akshat? Mridupan?
Sir, I have to see the expression.
Okay. Acha, your expression is already known to you, na? Alpha 1.
Oh, yes, sir, but in the screen it is not visible.
Acha. So these are the other two. which would be required for us because we have to identify what all variables, right? Only thing is that the dividend factor is not known. So how many of you can actually derive these? Because this is a not very tough one. How many of you can please raise your hand if you can derive this one? Great. So the first Greek letter, let's start with the Greek one. And it says that name is the delta, and it will be represented by the capital Greek letter delta. So if I'm trying to calculate the, for anyone, if even you can call it as an for the put for any asset. So it start with the call option, and it's for the call option, it is the partial derivative of the call option equation with respect to the stock price, right? Do you remember the Black-Scholes formula? Can you see the Black-Scholes formula now? Let me go back. You see this part, not with the C0. Let's start with CT and try to understand if I'm doing the partial derivative of C with respect to S, what would be the expression?
N of alpha 1.
Sorry. What about the other part?
Yes, sir. It would be there, but like we have to calculate.
No, because alpha 1 is itself is a function of S. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I would like you to just note it down, this expression. I mean, by the time you should be able to get what this equation is. And if I do the partial derivative of call option price with respect to S, it should be N of alpha 1 Do you agree?
Yes,
How
sir.
many of you agree with the expression which I have written for delta? Aryan Sood?
Sir, this dou alpha 2 by dou s is actually equal to dou alpha 1 by s. That's why you had taken common now.
Because in the alpha 2, right, alpha 2, so if I take del alpha 2 by del s would be equal to del alpha 1 by del s, because the other terms which is representing giving a relation between alpha 2 and alpha 1 are independent of s. See this part,
Yes,
alpha
sir.
2, alpha 2 is this one. So if I take the partial derivative of alpha 2 with respect to s, because this part has got no s involved into that one, so it will become del alpha 1 by del s.
Yes, sir.
Right. And we know all those values. We know everything else. If I put it all together, this will become 0. This is I would like you to do this to get this. So we have now we know all the expression, partial derivative of n alpha 1, partial derivative of n alpha 2, del alpha 1 by del s, and all other values we know. If I put together all in the equation, the value would come out to be 0. So the delta of any call option is basically n alpha 1. Is it okay?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
One more thing, just because we know we can put now for the put option, and we will have a similar kind of expression where we have to put the value. Rather that, if I have to calculate the put option, I can directly write it as an 1 minus n of alpha 1. This would be the expression. This is not very tough to know, because it will come out to be n of minus alpha 1, and you can actually put it there as 1 minus n of alpha 1. Is it okay?
It had come from put call parity, sir.
No, it will not come from the put call parity. Put call parity is giving you the put option price. Once you do for the put option equation, correct, you do the partial derivative of s with respect to s and put all the value, expressions values. Finally, you will get this one. This again, you try by yourself, or let me know if you are unable to get this. So the first part is clear, delta, correct? What should be the expression of delta? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now the second one is gamma. Pardon me if it looks like T, but it is gamma. And gamma,
Sir,
huh,
sir, can we get this expression by put call parity or not? Like, is it possible or not?
I mean, put call parity is without differentiating it, right? A function.
Yes, sir. After doing partial differentiation accordingly,
If
then
you
is it
use the
possible? Like,
put call parity, and if you use the partial derivation onto put call parity, then definitely you will get. So what is the put call parity equation? Let me see this part. What is the put call parity equation? Can you tell me?
this S plus P equal to C plus that e to the power minus r
ST plus PT
pt
is equal to
CT plus K times e to the
CT.
power minus RT.
RT minus T. Now it will become. Now do the partial derivative with respect to S. This becomes 1.
Yes, sir.
This become delta of P.
Yes, sir.
This become delta of C.
Yes, sir.
What about the other one? Give me a moment, please. Sorry. So, sorry, what is the equation of this put option? It is not coming. I'll come back to this part. Correct. Can we do it using the, sorry. Sorry. Let's try to see with with when we have a put option equation. What is that? This is n of minus alpha 2.
Sir, your,
Am I
sir, your
audible?
screen is not visible. Sir, your screen is not visible.
Sorry. Can you see it now?
Yes, sir.
How? Now do the partial derivative with respect to s. What expression you will get? Just let me know. See this part and match with this. And let me know what expression you will be getting.
Sir, same expression will come, sir. The second part for
And
the first part.
what would be the first part?
Uh, Sir, this only that we had written earlier. S of t n dash. Now it will be minus alpha 2. And then minus k e to the power minus r t minus t. Then n dash minus alpha 2. And in the whole bracket outside would be dou alpha 2 by dou s. That is equal to dou alpha 1 by dou s.
So finally, what would
Now,
be the final expression? Will it be n of alpha 1 minus alpha 1? Yes or no? Soumyadeep,
yes, sir. Minus of n of minus alpha 1.
minus of
So, yeah.
why? Because first you will do with the minus alpha 1, na? So it becomes plus because it's a minus already.
Yes, sir.
Soumyadeep, are you getting n of minus alpha 1?
Yes, sir. It will be n of minus alpha 1. Then from the normal distribution, 1 minus n of alpha 1.
And can we write it as 1 minus n of alpha 1? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. From the normal
Yes, sir.
distribution.
Huh. This part is okay. So this would be the put option. Let's try with the put call parity. So what is the put call parity equation? Sorry, I should write with respect to time. Is it correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So if I start writing this becomes del C, correct?
Yes, sir.
With respect to S, this will become 0.
Yes, sir.
Right. So now try to understand with respect to the put option price. Put option price has a function which is of minus S. Right. The variable is not directly S, but it is minus S. So if I take the partial derivative with respect to S, it would come out to be minus del P. Right. Not del P. Delta P. It will come out to be minus of delta P. Are you getting my point? And then we have to add the
Yes, sir.
plus term. So this is what would be the relative one. If I know this is an alpha one, delta C is n of alpha one, then my del P would becomes 1 minus n of alpha 1. Are you getting my point? Yes or no? There are two
Yes,
things.
sir.
They are not the same. The functions are not in the same, but the functions variables are negative of that. So one is increasing, other is decreasing. So when we use the put call parity equation, we have to be able to justify that if one is increasing, other is decreasing, the variables are negative related to each other. So if I know fx and if I know f of minus x, all right. So if I do the partial derivative with respect to x, if one comes out to be del f, other would be minus of del f. Do you agree with this?
Yes, sir.
So this is the reason. So we can use both. Either we directly go with the put option price, or we can put, put call parity equation. But in that case, we need to understand that this function variables are taking the negative values. How many of you have been able to understand this? Please raise your hand. Now, do you remember duration and convexity?
Yes, sir.
What was that duration and what was the basically duration and convexity related with each other? The convexity is the again the partial derivation of this duration. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
why we went with the duration and why we went with the convexity? When the price change is small, then we said that what we are doing is the first order approximation, and second order terms can be so negligible that we might not require that one, and approximately we can say that what would be the change in the function value using the first order approximation. But if the variable change values are higher, then first order approximation might not be the appropriate one. We need the second order approximation. We need to bring the second partial derivative into our equation. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All of you, please respond. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
So what we do, we take the, we are writing with respect to the call option, but it can be with the put option and it can be with any asset. So with respect to the call option, it's the second derivative, partial derivative with respect to the asset price, or we can write it as the first derivation of the delta. And finally, this would be the expression. Because we know that delta of a call option is n alpha 1, so taking the second derivative with respect to s, this is what the expression we will be getting. Yes or no? Please raise your hand if you have if you have understood, or if you have any doubt, let me know. Can we write like this? Soumyadeep, Akshat, Raghav. Please respond.
Yes, sir. We can write that like this.
Sir, which
Huh.
term, sir? Actually, your screen is not moving. Maybe mic is.
Is it okay? I'm talking about this which we have put together, and this is would be the final expression. We know what would be the value of n alpha, sorry, n dash, and what are the del alpha 1 by del s. If I put together, this is the expression I will be getting.
Yes, sir.
That's not but very tough, because we have already calculated what will be the value of n dash and what will be the partial derivative of alpha 1 with respect to s. We just have to put together and multiply all those together. Correct? Is it okay? So the final third one, and luckily, because what is the expression for the put option? 1 minus, what is the expression for the put option? One minus, or it will be the same? Please respond. All of you, please respond. Are you getting yes or no? Hello? Am I audible? Am I audible? Hello? Hello?